Welcome back to Just Joshing with Jakota. I'm Josh, this is Jakota, and today we don't have a topic, so we're not going to continue talking about anything. We're going to talk about whatever we feel like this time. You got a new job.
I did. It's awesome.
Yeah. This gets hurt on his first day. Second day, right?
Second. Yeah, it was my second day.
And it's a double hurt.
What do you mean?
You gassed yourself and you cut your finger.
I did. Okay, yeah, it was a double whammy today. It was funny because I was the first one to get hurt.
They have like hats and jackets that say 245 days without an injury.
That's funny because it was so funny because like I was actually warned about what was going to happen to my hands if I didn't wear gloves. And just to get
and you're like, gloves? You mean bitch mittens?
No, I actually like gloves.
Yeah, because, you do actually.
I have bitch hands, so feel how soft that shit is. You know what I mean? I was picking up a what's that stuff that you put over your drywall? It's like a
panel board.
Like a panel board, yeah. It's like that thick, right? And it's got a groove in it so that you can tongue and groove.
Oh,
so you can smash that on.
Kind of like subfloor.
Right. You got to glue the back of it, put it on. Anyway, so it's like precision cut, right? Like it's cut perfectly. Mm-hmm. Cut like a...
Like with a laser, probably.
Probably, right? One of my coworkers was like telling me about how... so it was my second day on the job, right? So like I don't know.
Which was today.
Right.
Like you're wearing your work clothes right now.
No. This is my everyday clothes. What do you mean? I was going to go to my bank earlier, but... So my job is we renovate McDonald's in the Walmarts around Alberta and stuff.
Not a sponsor.
I shouldn't have said that, huh?
It's okay.
So I'm a finisher, right?
Right.
We go in, we demo all the stuff, like we rip off wallpaper and like hip, like there's like tile and it only goes up to your hip, right? And then the rest is just regular wall.
Yeah.
Okay, we cut that all out, right? So stuff like that. We renovate it and then we get rid of all the old stuff, put in the new stuff.
Right.
That's what renovation is.
Yeah. Is it for vanity or like why do they?
I think it's countrywide, so I think it's just
they just wanted to make it look better.
Right.
But it's still functional as it was.
Right.
Because like most McDonald's aren't owned by McDonald's. They just own the name.
Right.
Right.
I mean, same with like Dairy Queen.
Yeah, any fast food restaurant.
Any family can own.
Yeah. Well, no, not anyone can own one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's restrictions to that?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure anyone can own it, but you have to meet a certain criteria.
Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Found that out when I used to work there when I was a kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
No way. Huh.
We had a Christmas party. I didn't go to it because I didn't work there long enough to go to it. So like I could if I wanted to, but I didn't know anyone, so I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like they had a hypnotist there and stuff apparently,
way.
and I'm like, really?
What?
But anyways,
yeah.
Go on. So you cut your finger.
So
open.
I cut my finger, right? They go, oh my gosh. I was like, yeah, you were right. I should have worn gloves, right? Because when I picked it up, those things are like 40 pounds at least, right? They're heavy. So like the weight of the corner on your thumb, that's all it took. I didn't go like this.
You didn't slide.
I literally picked it up and then we turned it so that we could carry it, and that's when it was like tsk, and then I cut my hand. I was like, what the hell? But the other guy that cut his finger didn't even know. Someone was like, yo, you're getting blood everywhere. He's like, what? Oh.
Such a clean cut.
Yeah. So he didn't feel it, right? It's so sharp. And then
But you wouldn't expect it to be sharp.
No. It's not. It doesn't even say caution. Watch out for sharp objects. It literally is just a piece of wood to the naked eye, right? It just looks like
But it's not wood.
No, it's not wood. It's like particle...
It's sawdust.
Condensed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell. And then, so the second thing that happened to me was I got gassed out by the... It's so funny because like I was in the middle of the I was in not well ventilated because I was far away from the door, but like it should have been enough that I would have been fine. But I was using acetone to take grease off of stainless steel, which is I've never seen anyone do that before.
Maybe in like the auto body industry they might use that, but they'd probably clean it off with something else first, and acetone would be the last thing.
Maybe, but it was like I think I probably could have used water and would have
like hot water
like, would have came off or something.
Right.
But like so this thing was as long as this couch, maybe longer. It was probably from the end of here to the end of the
like a sheet of plywood, maybe, or
yeah, rough. Yeah, like 8 feet maybe. But it was only this thick, right?
wide.
Yeah, it was only this wide, and then it was like forever long. So just imagine a bunch of grease all over this thing, right?
Because it was used. So what did you have to do? They wanted you to
clean it,
to put it back, to reuse
I don't even know. I was doing something, and then my coworker was like, "You want something to do?" And I was like, "Yes," because I've asked him like 8 times. Hey man, I just did what I did everything.
It's weird when you start a job and you do better than they expected you to do. Like,
oh yeah, dude, I'm killing it. You know what? I was like, do you have anything bad to say about me or anything? That's what I asked on the first day. And they're like, no, you did good. I was like, thanks, man. And it went very well. My first day went very well, even though I was extremely tired.
Right, because it was weird how you did it. They called you for an interview, right?
Yes.
6 months after you...
Yeah, so I applied to this job 6 months beforehand, and then they called me. I didn't even know who it was, right? Hello? Yeah, is this Jakota? Yeah. Hi, this is blah, 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 blah from... I don't even know the company's name. It's like 5 different names in one name or something. So I was like, okay. Yeah, so if you could come for an interview sometime before 12. And I was like, on Sunday or whatever it was, Saturday? Can't remember what it was. Friday? Anyways, I went there, and the interview took like 5 minutes.
Then you got the job, and then they were like, yo, by the way, we're going to call you in for work in like the late evening.
Yeah, which I should have known, because that day on Sunday was my first day. And I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I don't know, I just wasn't, I think it was too hot in my room or whatever, so like
You just woke up.
just woke up, right? And I couldn't go back to sleep, so I just stayed up, right? And then 4 o'clock p.m. rolls by, and then my boss calls me and goes, hey, you ready to go at 8? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, at 8, I told you on Friday. I was like, yep, I'm ready to go. Yep, I'll see you.
So they told you.
They told me they said they might give me a call on Sunday.
Oh.
So it wasn't set in stone if I was going or not, right?
Did they say it would be at 8 in the evening?
I was aware that it would be in the evening, yes.
That's late to start on your first day on a...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever. Every job is different.
So it was 8 p.m. until... I didn't get home until 7:30.
And then your second day, you freaking gas yourself and cut your finger open.
Yeah, so great start to a new chapter in my life.
That's so funny. I gassed myself on a job before.
Oh, yeah?
Framing, yeah. So this was like my second time getting carbon monoxide poisoning. The first time was because of my car in my own garage.
Right.
And the second time, we were in a shop, rich guy's shop. He had a whole bunch of nice cars. Anyways, we ordered a scissor lift, and
Nice.
We wanted an electric one because it was indoors.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't have any electric ones left, so they dropped off a propane one.
Oh.
And like that exhaust was just, so basically we needed the scissor. We were in a big shop.
Isn't propane like a very light gas? So you wouldn't even be able to tell if you were... Does that hang low, or what is that?
That would be a heavy gas. Carbon monoxide is a heavy gas.
Okay.
That sits near the floor. I don't know what propane is. Whatever it is, it's not good for you.
Right.
So we get it, and we're like, yo, why did they send this? And it's way bigger than the electric one. It's way wider. It's for outside, right? It has big monster truck tires. It has tires like this, right? That electric one has tires like that, are like 12 inches, right? They're small.
I've used a couple in my day.
And we get it, and it's there, and we're like, what the heck? And I'm new. I don't know how to frame, barely, right? And so whatever. I'm start handing him up material. He has it running because he has to drive. We basically built an office with an upper level that also needed a wall, and it was a tall wall. So they were like 15 foot. I guess technically it's not a tall wall, but it was like a 15-foot wall. And so I'm handing him up material. He's in, my boss man, he's in the top pulling up the material, and I'm just handing him lumber, and I'm just getting sick after a while because I already got gas before.
Right. So
and once you've had it once,
more sensitive,
your body's like, screw this.
Yeah.
So I was getting sick. And this is a time when I had 2 jobs. So I worked that job in the daytime, and then I also had a night shift at a job, which was actually just down the street. And I was like, I remember when I was at my new job, and that guy, my boss man, also had the same job. He owned a framing company, and then he also worked at this job because he got into some trouble and he needed to have a job. He was mandated to have a job, but he was also allowed to run his company if it was within a certain whatever.
Right.
However it works. Anyways, I met him through my regular job, and then I worked for him framing on the side. So anyways, we get to work at our mutual job there, and I'm like, man, I'm not feeling so hot. I felt so bad. I couldn't do focus really. So I'm like, I go up to Ralph, and I'm like, dude, I gotta go home. And luckily, he wasn't my actual boss man there at the regular job. The boss man actually had called in sick or something like that, my actual boss, who he didn't like me, so he probably would have said, too bad, and then I would have to stay there.
I'm pretty sure when you're sick, that's a work hazard.
Yeah, but he doesn't care. Lots of bosses don't care, right? They care about their numbers. Not everyone. So anyways, I go up to him and I'm like, hey, I gotta go home. And he's like, okay. So I go home. I go lay on my bed. My mom is asking me like, hey, why are you home so early? Because I work night shift, right? So it was like, what was it, 11 till 7. And I was just like, I think I got carbon monoxide poisoning again. I go down, whatever. She drives me to the hospital, and yeah, I have carbon monoxide poisoning. A freaking again. But this time I didn't have to stay in the hospital. Well, I only was there for a couple hours, and then my blood levels were fine. So they sent me home. But man, I was sick for a couple days from that. Brutal.
Couple days?
Yeah, so I called in sick again.
That's rough. You didn't get in trouble.
No, he asked me if I actually got carbon monoxide poisoning, though, when I came back. And I'm like, yeah. I even took a picture of myself in the hospital bed so that he would believe me. I actually sent it to one of my coworkers to show him so that he would believe me.
It's like, why wouldn't he believe you, though?
He didn't like me.
Oh, just for the... Even if he... I feel like some people are like that, and they wouldn't even believe you even if they saw a picture. They'd be like, yeah, it's Photoshop.
Well, that guy, actually, he didn't like me at all for a long time. Like since I worked there. I don't know why. He liked one of my friends, who I've been friends with, and you're friends with him too, for years, and I don't know why. He liked him, a lot. As if they were pals, which they weren't. And, he even offered him a promotion and stuff.
Why didn't he take it?
Because that job sucks.
Oh, right.
And then after he refused it, then he offered it to me, which was, I was like, okay, well, I could make more money, so yeah, I'll do it. And then I quit. And then when I quit, he was, kind of mad because... As a boss man, he chooses who, because he asked me, he's like, hey, how long do you think you would work it for? I'm like, oh, just forever, I guess. Just whatever. I mean, I hated this job, but I still said forever. And then so he's like, okay, well, I want to offer you this thing. So, because they put you through school to be power engineer and all that stuff.
Right.
And so I did that, and then I quit. And then when I quit, he fired me. But.
How does that work? That's so that you can't. If you're fired, it looks worse on your...
Well, if you're fired, they have to give you severance, but I already quit, so I didn't have to.
Right.
But that's not why...
Because they're not allowed to leave you high and dry, right?
Something like that. So he fired me, but this is why he fired me. So I didn't like this guy.
Right.
At all. I actually couldn't stand him. And I try not to hate people or say that I hate people because I think that's a terrible thing to say to someone, especially if you don't actually hate them.
Right.
Same with if you tell someone that you love them and
Right.
you don't actually love them, that's messed up.
Right.
Right. So I try not to say either of those things. Right. But this guy, I hated. I didn't want him to die or anything.
What was it about him that you didn't like?
He was just so. I don't know.
Was he annoying?
If you were a good-looking girl, your job was the easiest thing. I'm a dude. He doesn't.
Right.
He doesn't care. So he gives me. So okay. So this is one thing that I hated. So we started getting Employee of the Month. Well, we always had Employee of the Month, but we started getting like rewards for Employee of the Month. You're tired, huh? So we get Employee of the Month rewards. Gives you bigger incentive to do a better job. And
Right.
at this job, there is nothing to look forward to. It's what you would call a dead-end job. You're there and it sucks. They have like 6 temporary workers working there each shift, and then the permanent employees, right?
Temp agencies typically pay less.
They do,
Yeah.
right? They only made minimum wage. I made like $24 or something like that.
Holy shit.
Well, it's
Back in the... How long ago was that? Like 7 years ago?
yeah, 7 years ago is when I quit. So and minimum wage was probably $13 at the time.
Yeah, it was not 15 like
So-
it is now.
I remember this particular thing so well because I thought it was so unfair. How, okay, so this job sucks and there's not much to look forward to except for getting your name on the board.
Right. That's kind of like a pat on the back.
Yeah. And your name gets on the board if you beat a record, like a production record, or if you, basically that's it. All your name would be on the top. Like if your name was in red. If it was in blue, that means you did good. And if it was in black, it meant you did bad.
Okay.
So there was an average that you wanted to get, which was 85% efficiency, which was hard to get unless you were me. I was so good at this machine. So I got, normal, a good efficiency would be 85% all month long, right? Or down to 80 would still be acceptable too. Like
Okay.
you would have a blue if you were 80. You'd have red if you were higher than 85. But I think 80 to 85 was blue, and then 79 and lower was black, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Anyways, you wanted your name in red, right? Every day you'd look at it and you'd be like, yeah, I did good, or whatever, right? That was the one thing that you
Right.
could look forward to. And I was like, okay. What it was cutting styrofoam and packing styrofoam and making stuff out of styrofoam. And this machine, it was an electric machine, and it has these wires on it that like cuts these profiles and these styrofoam billets. And sometimes wires break, which makes your production go down because then you have to change a wire and you got to go fast. And you break at least like 2, 3, 4 wires of a shift.
No way.
Right? Because you also have to change them. And then depending on what your order was, you could... Like, I would look ahead, so I would do all the easy ones first, so I wouldn't have to change the wires so much. So I'd be like, okay, these ones, because there'd be like a stack of papers, right? And you'd be like, okay, this wire has to be like this, right? So some of the angles in the wires, right? It's kind of hard to explain.
Right. Okay.
But then I would look at the other pages to see how close the other profiles were, and I would just change them. Instead of adding 17 wires to do the next profile and then taking them off to do another one, I would do all the ones that had about the same amount of wires, cut all those, then add the wires as I went, and then go back in the order and do all those. Because as long as it was being done, it was fine. Because you would just initial them so they were done. Someone would take them away in the warehouse. In this particular case, I did... You're going to start making me yawn.
Man, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I started getting mad good at this machine, and then I also decided to do the machine that was beside me, which
So
was...
you gotta choose what machine you gotta go
No,
on?
I always did this machine, but I was doing so well, and it takes a while for the wires to cut through the styrofoam, right? There's different densities. You can get like type 0 to type 5, and type 5 was like the heaviest, right? It'd be like 1,000 pounds or whatever, or type 0 would be like 100 pounds, right? And so if it's denser, the wire has to cut through it, right? It's hooked up to a welder that heats up the wire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So I would go and do this machine, which gives me a higher efficiency. And I got like 300% efficiency on certain days.
Holy... Wait.
I got
What?
I did way more than expected.
Like, it was supposed to be 80 and you got 300?
85. Yeah, like 287
What?
and stuff like that.
That's ridiculous.
So my overall for my whole month was way over anyone else's. So a couple days I get 200 and some
So
percent.
your name's going to be on the...
Yeah, and it was on it for the thing. But at Employee of the Month time, I had 99% efficiency at the end of the month. And the reason why I didn't get 100% efficiency or higher is because a couple days out of the month, I got like 18%, not 18, like 30%, 40% because I broke a lot of wires or the order didn't allow for all that whatever. But this other employee, he got consistent numbers, 85%. So he had a perfect 85%. He gets Employee of the Month because he was the most consistent, even though I was the highest in the history of the company.
What?
In the history of the whole company.
Wouldn't you be like Employee of the Year then?
Dude, I did so well.
Did you say anything to this person?
Right in our freaking meeting. I was like, what? And he said, well, you didn't actually get 99%. You actually got 98% because we're also counting blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, now I understand. I was like, what? And my friend, by the way, the guy who's my friend, who's you're friends with too. Mm-hmm. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so he did another machine that was way harder than mine. And it was way longer. It took way longer to do everything. And I hated running that machine. Every time I ran it, I could not run it good at all. And
let's just see how many times I yawned.
Yeah, how many times has he yawned? He got 110% on this machine.
Holy shit.
Which is hard. People are happy if they get 60%. I would get like 30% on this machine. So that was so unheard of that the next day, instead of having his name on the board, they said, hey, I think you entered in your numbers wrong. It says you got 110%. And he's like, no, I got 110%. So instead of getting his name up there and saying, oh, thank you, good job, they upped production from 85%, like what 85% used to be. Mm-hmm. That was, what he got, so 100%, how do you say this? What 100% used to be now became the 85%.
Right. I get it.
So they just upped the, yeah.
Because they knew that it could be done.
Yeah.
So they expected
but
it.
He didn't take a break. And he was sweating. Because we were just in the competitive mode. We wanted to get super high numbers because there's 3 shifts. And you want to be higher than the other shifts.
Plus, there was that reward of being Employee of the Month kind of things.
But it turns out you don't have to do anything to be Employee of the Month. Just do your job regular. You don't have to go above and beyond.
See, that's why I don't...
Dude, no job cares about you.
No.
Almost no job. If I ever have employees, they're going to love working for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had employees before, but that's with construction. That's a different ballgame. That's.
Yeah, I remember when I worked for you. I wanted to drop kick your jaw.
Hey, man, you weren't productive enough.
I was very good at my job. No, I wasn't.
He wasn't very good.
I wasn't that. I mean, it was the drywall that you got mad at me for, and that's not my bag, baby.
I didn't get mad at you. I more so didn't understand how you couldn't grasp this simple concept of certain things, which frustrated me.
Right.
My bad.
Mm-hmm.
But in the future, enterprises doing art and stuff, if I ever need a whatever, someone who does all my orders or something like that, I want them to be like, yo, I love working here. Right? Like, we've had this idea for a while, like even just doing this podcast or whatever this is called. We've wanted to do this for years. Yeah. And then we've also wanted to do other things. We wanted to open a gallery. We wanted to open up like a venue space. Right? But all that
wanted
stuff.
to. I mean, I think
still
we
want
still
to.
Want to.
Yes. But it takes money, it takes other sorts of logistic things, and we just can't...
it takes so much. I mean, it starts with a dream, though, right?
Yeah. It's like what would you say that? It's like you start with a plan, right? Don't start with a dream, make a plan, try to implement that plan to make the money to be able to do it, and then have it be sustainable, self-sustaining.
I remember when we used to drive around town and be like, that would be a good place for whatever.
Yeah, we would.
Right? And then just, imagine if we did this. There were some pretty cool places that I wish that we could get.
Yeah.
I mean, but man, in the future, there's going to be better places. I think.
But we would probably build our own place at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I even remember, like, I had a store for a little bit with our brother Will. Some of you guys know Will if you follow our individual channels as well. And I had a store with him, but then he moved away, so it didn't really work out because we basically would make handmade stuff and whatever. Like, we made all sorts of things.
Like
and
furniture,
art, knickknacks,
cool
whatever.
things.
Just, yeah, different things. And then we also made stuff that we weren't really passionate about just because we knew that we could sell them. Right? And then we did that for a while, probably 4 months or something like that, or 5 months maybe.
I don't think that I could ever do that.
What's that?
Make something just because I know I'm going to make money off of it.
Oh yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
But this is a different situation.
Like, I know, I understand that, but since I'm a photographer, I feel like
yeah, like you don't do birthday parties or weddings or like couples shots for the most part.
For the most part, like I did when I needed the money, and I would go do photo shoots for families, which you would think it would be fun, where you'd be like, oh hey, I get to hang out with these cool kids, and
but it's not, because it's not your style, right?
Not only that, okay, these are kids, okay, rambunctious. They don't care. They don't care about the guy behind the camera, okay? All right, and smile, and then they're just like, you know what I mean? Just stupid, and then I'm just like trying to contain my anger, like, because I'm usually friends with the people that, well, in this particular instance, I was friends with the mom of these 3 kids, okay? There was a 13-year-old girl, and then like a 8 or like a 10, no, they must have been 12 or 10, something like that. Anyways, they were twins, and I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. She wants a family photo. Awesome, great. I like pulled her aside, and I was like, if your kids don't knock it off, I'm going to punch them myself. And she laughed. She laughed because she was my friend, right? So she was like, all right, I'll tell them to knock it off. And then like they eventually did, but it was like I had already lost my patience at that time, at that point, that it was like, I just want to get this done with. You know, get this over and done with. Because first of all, family photos, it's not my bag. That's not my thing, right? Unless it was like, hey, make us look like zombies. And
I remember you did one of a guy with his grandparents.
I did. He loved it. His grandparents loved it too.
Yeah.
Where I made his grandparents look like zombies, and he was hugging them or whatever.
Yeah.
And the grandma was holding a rose. I remember that, and her face was all like, she was wearing sunglasses, right? They were like circles, kind of weird ovals, right? And they were like purple or something. And she had this like smile, and I made it all
like all
disgusting.
gnarly.
Yeah. And the grandpa was just a grandpa, just a chubby grandpa, and I made his face all funky, and it was great. He loved it. So did his grandparents. So that worked out well. If families wanted me to do stuff like that, then I would. Right? Then we would sit down and be like, "This is what I can do."
Yeah, that's just a rare.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
Right. So if it does happen, or even if they were like, "Hey, let's get some nice ones or whatever, ones for the wall, and then like some that are like,
you know what's funny?
Gnarly.
So the picture Night Lights, if you go to Madness Photography, I have a picture called Night Light, which was not. I had a friend who had a sister that has a child. Okay, my friend's sister wanted pictures of her child for Mother's Day. Or I think it was like a surprise or something. I think my friend was surprising her sister or something. She hired me to take pictures of her niece. Right? Which is the little girl in the Nightlight.
Right. Okay.
And that wasn't even what she wanted. She just wanted, I think it was Mother's Day or something. I can't remember. It was a present for her. So I took a bunch. I gave them the ones that they wanted. And then I kept all the rest of the pictures because I knew that I was going to use them later.
Yeah.
And since it was my friend, I felt like I should be allowed to do that, right? So I had all these extra pictures. So I made Nightlight after the fact. Does that make sense? I made it after I had already
you used the leftovers.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a fluke. It wasn't even...
you weren't taking pictures for yourself that day, but you happened to.
Right. I wasn't exactly taking pictures for myself, but I actually ended up doing that. You know what I mean? And it looks great. I love it. Allegedly, the mother of the child actually cried when she saw it, and I was like, ugh!
Like the one that you made for yourself.
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome.
She loved the ones that I did for her, and then I released the ones that they didn't pay for on my Instagram, and they were like, "What? Holy shit!" I was like, "Yeah." So they got the crappy ones, and I just made the cool ones.
Right.
So
that's actually kind of cool. You accidentally like spark an emotion in someone,
right,
with your art.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Someone cried over. They must have thought it was their own child, so I get it.
Right, but yeah,
it's crazy that I'm able to evoke those emotions,
especially with your style,
like through a picture.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Especially with your style, because it's.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like
what is my style?
Some people I don't know. How would you call it? It's like macabre fantasy, almost.
Macabre fantasy manipulation.
I don't know. But like, you can see like some people get emotional like when they look at like World War II pictures. And that makes sense.
Right.
Right? Because that's real life. But then getting emotional over like an art piece. Mm-hmm.
But that's art though, right?
Yeah.
Art is what it makes. If you feel something from it, it's art.
I totally agree.
If you feel emotion, if you feel something and you have a strong connection, I think that it's art.
Yeah. I have a different opinion on what makes art, like the banana taped to the wall.
I think that's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious too. I think the person who bought that is stupid.
They ate the banana, didn't they?
Someone else ate the banana.
Perfect.
And then they said it was performance art.
Interesting.
Yeah, but
it was like $250,000 or whatever.
Whatever it was way too much money. Like the person who made that, maybe it would be art. Maybe if I could it is art, I guess. But to me, it's bad art because it doesn't. It's lazy.
But I mean, I think art's.
It's totally subjective. Totally subjective.
Right.
I just don't like it, but I also don't like a lot of art. Right. So it doesn't mean it's bad.
Neither do I. You know what's weird? Like I don't like a lot of art, but I don't like voicing that I don't like it. You know what I mean? Just because it's none of their business if I don't like it, right? Like I don't care. Like I don't feel like I need to go out of my way to be like, hey, dude, I think shit sucks.
The guy did it probably to make people talk about it.
Right. Exactly. Did you hear about that dude that buried his Rolls Royce? Right? This freaking rich dude. It was all over the news. It was years and years ago. He was rich. This rich, like Italian dude or something like that, right? Wrote in the newspaper or whatever that he was gonna go bury his Rolls Royce, come over and watch the debacle or whatever the frick you want to call it. So people got pissed at this dude. Okay, they're like, you mother. Why are you gonna bury this? You could sell it and give it to charity and blah blah blah. But he flipped it on them. He was like, I got you. You care more about me burying my car than you do about the people that are actually suffering. And I was like, no way. Holy crap.
Right. Criticizing people, like rich people, brings out all the hypocrites. Now, I think there comes a point in being a rich person where you're a burden to society.
Right.
Such as like someone who has $10 billion or
hoarding.
You're hoarding money because money is supposed to be finite.
It's supposed to be.
That's how it's worth something because it's not backed by gold anymore, right? So it's got to be worth something because there isn't a lot of it.
Right.
But if you have all of it, then it's also not worth anything because you have it all.
Right.
So I can't. You have it all. Like if I have all of the freaking bricks on the planet, you can't build anything with it. Somehow it makes me better than you because I have all the bricks. You can't build any more brick buildings. I got all the bricks. Oh, what are you going to do with all those bricks? What do you mean? I have piles of them. I like brick piles. It doesn't make any sense. You have all this money that you're not using and therefore is not helping fuel an economy. I'm not an economist, so I'm just talking shit.
Don't tell America that. They absolutely believe that.
What?
That the trickle down.
Well, Canada has the same thing.
We're stupid, man.
Well, I mean, in theory, it does work, but you have to spend it.
Right, but they're not.
They're not spending it.
They're not spending it.
Yeah, like, I know, like, our province, they have, like, we rely on the oil and gas, which makes sense because that's what we have as a resource, and we have lots of it. Mm-hmm. And supposedly we source it ethically. I think we do.
That's what they say, that we have the most ethically grown. We have the most
processed or whatever. Let's just assume it's true. But like, also we think about like, it's a whole thing, man. I can't even. I don't know. I'm not educated on it.
Right, me neither.
So I can't really say. If I was a rich person, I would want to be like. If I ever became a billionaire, I would hope to be like J.K. Rowling.
Give it all away.
That and like get it from being something, not from hoarding it, and not from. Sorry. Maybe I could hoard it, but like not from what do you call it? Exploiting people, I guess would be a good way to say it, right? Because like you think about people like I don't know, who's a rich person?
Amazon.
Yeah, that guy. What's
Jeff.
Jeff Amazon.
Goldblum? No, that's not it.
Okay, let's just say that guy.
Gordon?
So he owns that company.
Bezos.
Yeah. Okay, Jeff Bezos. Okay, so I mean, I don't know for sure, but just the way that he's talking about, he made his money by exploiting his workers who make barely any money.
Right.
Apparently aren't allowed to take breaks. Their incentives are like super not worth it, and they basically have to work super hard for. I thought they made less than minimum wage, or they made or something like that. That could be wrong. Maybe they just.
I heard something about that as well.
Or they only made minimum wage, or something like that. And like, if you're making money, where you're a billionaire, like you can't spend $1 billion.
Well, you could.
I guess you could
if you spent $1 billion.
Like, but let's say that you were being reasonable. Like me, I can't spend $1 billion. I don't have $1 billion,
right.
But like if I had $1 billion, I could have this house done in no time. Right? I could do so much stuff. I would have so much left over. Like I've already pledged. This is so dumb. You know how many times people have like when like okay, so the guy, the boss that I hated.
Yeah.
Now this is gonna go on record now. I told him because we were talking about the lottery because someone won like $60 million, and I told him he's like, what would you do if you won $60 million? I was like, man, I wouldn't work here anymore. And he was like, would you give me any? I'll be like, if I ever win the lottery, I'll give you $10,000. He's like, really? Because he knows I don't like him.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I'll give you $10,000. So if I ever win the lottery, I will give him $10,000, and it's gonna come out of left field. He's gonna be like, holy what? Because I didn't finish the story. So I quit and I got fired. Right. How I got fired is I was on my phone. I was working on these other machines. They're called the small machines, SM 1 through 12, I think. And they spit out like in greenhouses they have like these styrofoam rectangles that have a whole bunch of holes in them. You plant trees in them and you bring them out to nurseries and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So I was putting those in bags. You tie them up, wrap them up, and send them out to the warehouse. You have time to spare. But they're like, you have time to lean, you have time to clean, because styrofoam gets everywhere. You got to vacuum it up, blah blah blah. But like, I'm good at this job.
Right.
I can take time to check my Facebook or whatever. So he comes up to me and he's like, I know it's your last 2 weeks, but can you at least pretend that you're working? And I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. But then for some reason I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it is my last 2 weeks. F this guy. Screw this guy. I'm like, I had enough of this because this guy is a real jerk. Real jerk. I wish I could convey in language. I just can't. I can't even say that sentence. He is like, he has like this, you know, you just want to punch him. And he wanted to punch me that day because I was like, you beep 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 beep.
No way.
I never cursed at him before. I cursed with him
Right. No,
right?
just not at him.
This is my regular language. But then I cursed him out, and he didn't care at all. And then I called him a fat piece of shit. And he was like, he must have been sensitive about his weight. He wasn't even that fat. He was pretty fat, but not that fat.
Right.
And like, I don't make a habit of calling people fat, even if they are. Mm-hmm. But this guy, I just couldn't stand him, and I wanted to.
You lashed out on him.
I wanted to hurt his feelings, and I didn't even know that would work. Because
you fat piece of shit.
So I say that to him, and he's tall. He's like 6'2", 6'3", or something like that, taller than me, and he's big. He is fat, but big, whatever. And then he comes and gets up into my face. I was like, you don't intimidate me. Like, I knew he wasn't gonna do anything. If it was out in the street,
right?
I probably would have been like,
he would have called your bluff, and then he would have beat your ass.
Yeah. So I call him that, and then he's like, leave. I was like, what did I say? I said something about like, give me my severance letter or something like that. I was like, I'm not leaving. I wanted to just make him mad.
Right.
And then eventually I agree. Okay, I'll leave. And then I couldn't find my jacket, so I'm walking around the warehouse trying to find my freaking jacket. And he thought I left already. He's like, I thought I told you to leave. I'm like, dude, I'm looking for my freaking jacket. I'm looking for it. And so he's following me around to make sure I'm not doing weird stuff or whatever, like sabotaging.
Or like egging a machine or something.
Throwback. Yeah. Callback. I basically go, okay, I'm going to find my jacket and I'm going to peace out, but I can't find it. And I'm like, I'm looking for it. He's following me around. I finally get it. Then he follows me outside. I'm still cursing him out now because he's right behind me. And then like we get into the hallway to go upstairs to go out into the parking lot and for me to leave. And I'm like, I don't know what I was saying. I can't remember, but I was just swearing my head off. Totally not advisable.
Totally out of character.
Don't do it. Don't do it, dude. Yeah. Anyways, I get outside. We get outside, and then I'm like, I forgot my freaking lunch containers. So I come back out, and he's like, what now? I'm like, I forgot my lunch containers, dude.
He must have thought you were doing that on purpose.
Probably. So then I go down. I go into the kitchen. And I remember someone who follows me on Instagram, I think, now, said that they remember me working at that job, which is kind of crazy because I don't know this person. But I go into the lunchroom and it's this person's like first day or something like that. And I'm like, this guy's a piece of shit. I said it more colorful than that. And then one of my coworkers who I liked, he was in there too, and he laughs because he thinks I'm joking with him.
Right. Oh, no.
And he goes, ha ha ha. I'm like, you mother blah blah. Beep, beep, beep. I'm rinsing out my freaking dish, and there's like ramen noodles in it, and then I spray it, and the water just goes. I'm like, I don't care. Rinsing it out, get my mug, rinse that shit out, and I'm like, I'm still cursing it, and then these two people are like,
what's happening?
They're not kidding. Then I leave. I'm cursing them down the hallway. I get out. I leave.
Holy shit! You did a lot of swearing.
Lots, dude. I've never cursed someone out so much.
You really didn't like this guy?
No, I didn't. I couldn't stand him, but only because of him. I remember this one time. I accidentally. This is kind of messed up. There's this big machine. You make these huge styrofoam billets. They're like 16 feet tall by like. No, they're more than 16 feet tall because you have to cut off each end. It's probably, say 16 and a half feet tall. Okay. And it's about 4 feet by 4 feet. And then it expands a little bit. So, yeah. These machines they use these little pentane beads or whatever they're called, which turn into styrofoam. And then lots of steam. It's basically, it looks like a huge Scrooge McDuck vault.
Oh, nice.
And it pops out. Then there's these huge hoppers full of this bead stuff. And then you can also use recycled stuff. So you can grind it up, whatever. It's stuff that was a mistake or whatever. And then that gets thrown back into the hopper. And then you can like choose what you want on the machine that makes it, right?
Right.
I accidentally wanted, okay, so there's hoppers that are designated for black material and some for white material, and it's mostly white, right? When you think of styrofoam, it's almost always white, but there's black and blue sometimes, right?
That sounds familiar.
Right. So we get this new huge billet machine, and they put a lot of black in white hoppers, and they're labeled, but I'm not used to it because I don't run this machine that often. So I just click the numbers I know, put it in there, and I make like 2 billets, which are probably worth a few $1,000s, and I make a few billets with black material in it, and so I get in trouble because I wasted a few $1,000s, which my bad, right? So yes, but hey Hank,
what's up, Hanky Panky?
What's going on, bud?
How you doing?
He's like, what's up?
What's up, buddy? Alright, adios. He's like, my time here is done.
Yeah, he's like everything checks out.
That's so funny.
Anyways, I get black material in the white billet, and you can see it when it pops out. There's like a black waves in it.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there's lots of white material still in the machine, so there's not very much. But then the next one, there's like this big patch of black, and a patch of black. It looks like a Dalmatian almost.
That's not good.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh crap. So I turn it off. I go back to white from the first billet. But the second billet had a lot of black in it. Anyway, they notice it.
Man.
This guy's tired. So when we do this show, we're trying to do it like every week, right? But now that you have this job.
I got this job, so it kind of puts a damper on things.
Why'd you get this job? Well, what is up with this needing money? If anyone rich is watching this, speaking of rich people.
You know what? Yeah, man, I've been thinking about that. Like, I got this job, and I was like, you know, I used to wake up at 11 o'clock, and a lot of the times, and I could just go like this. Art! You know what I mean? Now I have to go, kill me.
That's what this job is. Hopefully this job that you have is not this job. But anyways, this is what they do. This is where they do me dirty. I make this mistake. A couple weeks later, probably not even, they come out with a new product. Guess what they call it?
The Joshua Special?
They call it the Dalmatian.
No
billet.
Way.
Yes. Do I get any credit for this accidental freaking product? I invented it.
Wow, dude. You invented it by accident.
But yeah, I made a mistake. But
then
they figure out a way to market it because it's a couple grand worth of styrofoam. That's just you can't even recycle it because it has black in it. So that'll be in there. So they marketed it as a thing for what was it for? I can't remember what they said it was for, but it was for like the black material costs way more than the white, and it attracts the sun and keeps in the heat. And I can't remember what it was for. But a lot of times they use it like there's a big Walmart supercenter, and they laid the foundation on top of a whole bunch of styrofoam so that it floats, so that the concrete doesn't crack. This is supposed to do something for that. The black in it is supposed to attract it. So these 2 billets I made, they are able to sell now. When they were like, "Yo, we can't sell this. This is all garbage."
Did you get in trouble when you?
I did get in trouble.
What was the repercussion?
It was like basically just a slap on them. Yeah, it wasn't like bad, but it was like they made me feel like shit because they're like, yeah.
Aren't they good at that though? Freaking people.
Yeah,
work.
They are. And you know what? I met the owner of the company when I was getting new tires, and I saw him at the tire shop, and I'm like, hey. And he's like, he didn't recognize me, and I'm like, I'm Josh, and he's like, sorry, I don't recognize you. And I'm like, I used to work for you on so-and-so's crew. And he's like, oh yeah, I remember you. And I'm like, yeah, made your new freaking product. I didn't say that, but I was thinking of that. And I was just like, man, I can't believe.
People, man.
Right?
Freaking people. That's what people do.
Yeah, there's a human element to everyone.
Man. Oh, man. But you heard about the sad news?
About Kobe?
Yeah. You know what's weird? I've never been affected except for Kurt Cobain.
What about Stan Lee?
No. Didn't really affect me. No, it was so weird. When I heard about Kobe, like I was shook. Like I thought it was a hoax at first, right? I was like,
Yeah.
Jack Black died yesterday.
Just like Vin Diesel died a
Right.
couple years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, that can't be true, right? I was like, yeah, right. He's not. This Kobe Bryant. He doesn't die. What are you freaking talking about, right? And I looked it up, and like, there's only been about 4 people that have died on me that I've actually like
Like who you didn't know?
no, that I've known and don't know. There's only been about 4 people that have actually and Kobe Bryant was one of them. And I don't even know the guy, right? Like, it was so weird.
Are you a fan of his?
A big fan, but not really. I enjoy his athleticism.
Like, you're a fan of greatness.
Yes.
And he's a great athlete.
He was a great athlete. He was a great role model. He was a great this. He was a great that. He was, somebody that I would, I looked up to. Not that I watched much basketball, but he was just awesome.
Not a great husband, apparently.
Well, the allegations that...
Yeah, if they're true.
I don't think... I'm going to... Did you see Dave Chappelle's special? Him talking about...
Yeah.
Well, you gotta... Wait, how did it go? He was like... you can't have 8 different semens in your panties. Or whatever it was. Because there was 8 different...
Yeah.
people. So, I don't know. Whatever it is. But I thought that was funny. But, I blocked that out. Okay? Who knows if that was true. If it was true, then he's a piece of shit. Screw that guy. But if they aren't, it totally sucks that he died.
Well, it sucks anyway.
It sucks that all of them died, right? There was like, what, 9 people?
I don't know how many people there were, but his kid died.
His
and yeah.
oldest child died. The coach for the basketball team that they were going to. Another player. And then the player's parents, I believe. And, yeah. Someone else. The pilot.
Yeah.
Kobe, the daughter, the coach, the player, the parents of the player, the pilot. So 7 maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, however many. Yeah, that's a lot. That's crazy.
Crazy. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
just thinking about any of that stuff. I remember I didn't understand the concept of death for a long time.
When Mac Miller died, that kind of sucked for me too.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of Mac Miller, so I didn't. I mean, it still sucks. But I remember the first time I knew that death was real was when we went to a funeral. Remember we even had like a whole thing around it. The guy's name was Sam. And remember?
I don't remember it. I remember that he died, and I was scared of him. I was scared of him because it was like, watch out for Sam, or whatever that we would scare each other.
So once he died, we lived in a house that had like a staircase that had like you could see through the staircase in the basement.
Right. Yeah.
All right, there were just wooden stairs, and we used to freak each other out by like running up the stairs and be like, Sam's coming.
Right.
And we thought he would reach through.
Yeah,
because he was the first person that we knew who died.
Right. That is so weird.
Because he used to come over and visit like with the family, because he was part of the family. And then so that was like a thing. And we'd like run and like lift our feet up and like bust through the door and be like, whoo,
safe.
Yeah, like you could just be at the very tippity top of the stairs. Just like when you like put your foot over the bed and you're like, oh no, can't do that. Monster's gonna grab it. Yeah. That's crazy. But you seem like you're a little tired, so maybe we'll wrap it up here.
Perfect.
Good luck on your new job.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
If you guys want to know what we're going to talk about next week, I said that wrong. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week.
No, I kind of liked that we just winged it today.
Yeah.
I don't think we necessarily have to have...
Oh, no, we don't. It's just, hopefully you guys still look forward to next week, even though we don't have anything to come with. But if you want to know what we're up to in the meantime, that's where I was going before.
Right.
If you guys want to know what we're up to in the meantime, just check out our individual social medias and channels. All that stuff will be linked below in the description.
Thank you guys for checking us out, and hope you all have a wonderful day.
Or night, in this case.
Yes. I can't wait to sleep, dude.
All right. Peace.
All right. See you later, guys.
Man, you are beat, huh?
I'm so tired.
You looked like you were going to fall asleep a couple times. I was like, oh, we got to wrap this up.